Kwenyu ndemwe chabe mabanja onanjala mkomo ndalama zonse mutumbalano masukwa kuchuluka pa mutupatu. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Kani zanu ndizo panda pindu anakulira miseu mwatu tikufuna chilengedwe cha tsopano osati mapocket anu opindika ndalama. Listen to the cries, they're louder than your lies. You can't silence the truth. It's time for the youth. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu is not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu is not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. We rise, we stand, we fight together for the children, for a better forever. When you kunata pano, we take the rain. Tikonza jiko. Kwenyu ndemwe chabe mabanja onanjala mkomo ndalama zonse mutumbalano masukwa kuchuluka pa mutupatu. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Kani zanu ndizo panda pindu anakulira miseu mwatu tikufuna chilengedwe cha tsopano osati mapocket anu opindika ndalama. Listen to the cries, they're louder than your lies. You can't silence the truth. It's time for the youth. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu is not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. We rise, we stand, we fight together for the children, for a better forever. When you kunata pano, we take the rain. Tikonza jiko.
Good day and welcome to today's broadcast. I'm sorry we are starting late. I just don't understand what happened. Let me just explain a bit. Let me adjust this. I'll get back to you just now.
kwenyu ndemwe chabe mabanja ona njala mkomo ndala mazonse mutumalano masukwa.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us on this broadcast. I'm sorry we are starting late. It's no fault of mine or fault of my guest. My guest has been in the studios almost the last 1 hour. My time has been adjusted by 1 hour behind. There's what they call daylight saving here. America experiences various time zones, and as we grow into winter, while it's hot and summer in Zambia, where the states where I am are going into winter, will have snow, in a couple of days, and going into months up to January, February. So there's what they call daylight saving. So beginning today, the clocks need to be adjusted an hour earlier. So on all my phones, which I use for time, they've been adjusted an hour earlier. So I even thought I have time to come to the broadcast. Like I've got another 30 minutes. I saw Honorable Emmanuel Mpundu in the studio, but I thought he was just earlier because he's a very disciplined guy anyway. So I thought he was just earlier. And I proceeded to do what I was doing, making preparations for this broadcast. Until, he sent me a message that we are 22 minutes late. I said, what do you mean? We are 40 minutes earlier. So when I looked at my watches, then it's what they call daylight saving. So I'm so sorry. Kindly share this broadcast. Kindly share this broadcast. There have been happenings. The Patriotic Front held its crucial Central Committee meeting yesterday, and it made various decisions. Number one, they are going to General Conference in the next 30 days. Number two, candidates, other than the ones that paid, the 9 that paid 200,000 kwacha, the new ones who wish to participate in this race can also pay 200,000 kwacha. And then there'll be a 50,000 kwacha nomination fee. The 200,000 is what they call expression of interest, like the one we paid. So there's another 50,000 kwacha for nomination fee, which will happen on the day of the voting, or you can pay earlier if you wish so. Then there were two key issues. Do we hold an extraordinary general conference, which we've been preparing since 2023, or because the term for this Central Committee and its leaders is coming to an end in May next year? A critical decision was made that we just go straight into general conference. Instead of electing one person, we just subject all positions to elections. So all positions are now up for election. In fact, even positions of council chairperson, councillors, mayors, and MP, as soon as the new Central Committee and President are elected, they will immediately embark on receiving nominations for members of parliament, councillors, council chairpersons, and mayors across the country. And then there'll be all positions from ward constituency that will also be opened up. I'll see if I have a video for the Acting Secretary General, Honorable Brenda Nyorenda Chisopa, who's MP for Lundazi and who's Acting Secretary General, where she was making these announcements. So that was a major development today. So kindly share the broadcast. We are hosting Honorable Emmanuel Mpundu. He's, remember, independent MP for Nkana constituency, and he formed a governance entity, a civil society grouping. We all just call it Ichabaiche. And so share the broadcast as I bring Honorable Emmanuel Mpundu to this broadcast.
Time is up, time is up. When you're not enough, time is up. For your lies and bluff, time is up, time is up. When you're not enough, time is up. For your lies and bluff. Kanizanu ndizo panda pindu. Anakulira mise umwatu. Tikufuna chilengede chatopano. Osati mapoke tanu opindika ndalama. Listen to the cries, they're louder than your lies. You can't silence the truth. It's time for the youth. Time is up. Time is up. When is not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. Time is up. Time is up. When is not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. We rise. We stand. We fight together for the children. For a better forever. When you gonna tapano, we take the rain. Tikonza jiko.
Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, that song says, time is up, it's time for young people. No Kwenyu lies, that's what that song says. It's been done by a gentleman called Invisible Hand. He's utilizing AI to come up with these songs. Emmanuel Chansa Mpundu, MP for Nkana constituency. Remember, he did an upset in 2021. There was a very strong man on the Copper Belt, Minister, Alexander Chiteme, very, very strong. But Emmanuel upset the tables. I don't know if he wants to upset the president's tables, but he's back here on this program. He's former district commissioner for Kitwe and now is MP for independent, as an independent in Nkana constituency. He's been one of those critical voices in parliament and we are glad to host him. Ebampundu Mwaiseni, and are you a twin?
Thank you, Mwamba. Thank you so much for hosting me tonight. It's always a pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, I'm not a twin. It was my father who was a twin. Interestingly, my father was born from one set of twins, him and a girl. A girl died. The next set of twins were also a boy and a girl. The boy died. So the remaining pair from my father's birth and the next pair, they formed now a pair and they were called twins. Interestingly so. So I'm just named after my father's Emmanuel Mwamba.
Do you have twins?
Unfortunately, I've not been able to have a set.
Thank you very much. Briefly about the status of Ichabache and colleagues who are managing deal with the feedback. The feedback is terrible. Deal with the feedback quickly. Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, please help us with what's happening with Ichabache.
Well, so thank you so much once again, Ambassador Mwamba, for this opportunity to share a few perspectives on Ichabache and of course a few governance issues. For those who may have been or who may get this for the first time, so we conceived an idea of coming up with a movement which we are calling the Movement for Good Governance. Now, because we wanted this, to align with everyone, including those who are not educated, because remember, to pronounce Movement for Good Governance requires that you may have attended a little bit of some education, okay? And so because we wanted to align this thing to, everyone, and because we were targeting a particular grouping, we coined up a slogan to refer to this movement as Ichabache. Now, Ichabache is if you speak Bemba, but you can call it comfortably in your language. You can refer to it as Chabafana. For those who come from the East, you can refer to it as Kiabanike. That's my favorite, one of my favorite languages because I started my life in the Northwestern Province. You can call it Sabanana if you come from the West, or you can call it Njabana if you can. But the idea is, because we're focusing on bringing together young people, like the song was saying, time has come for the young people. We conceived this idea that we needed to give a platform for young people to also get involved in governance issues. So very simply, the idea of the Movement for Good Governance is a young people-driven movement, okay? Are born out of the need for contemporary leadership. Here we regard, or rather referring to a leadership that is about democracy, a leadership that is about, social justice, equity, coexistence as well as a national renewal. Now, the emphasis on national renewal is for us, we believe that a time has come for a resetting of our country in terms of approaches. We believe in this movement that for many years we have adopted the same governance systems that have not yielded dividends, okay? And so on the other side, we have had the same political players on the field, and these we feel may have outlived their usefulness, and there's therefore a need for a resetting, starting afresh. So as to your question, how we are doing over the time, from 2013 December, when this idea was muted, we have grown exponentially to cover quite a significant portion of our country. We are in most districts as we speak. There's overwhelming response from young people who had wanted to participate in governance and seize this platform as an opportunity to showcase their leadership potential. And I think that over time we've been able to demonstrate in numbers as we have participated in national activities such as the Youth Day, the Independence celebrations. So I think in all fairness, we have gained significant growth from the time that this idea was muted.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Do you think that presenting an agenda for young people is a sellable idea? And number two, isn't it the reason why President Hakainde Hichilema, recognizing that the majority of our people are young people and they are highly marginalized because they have no representation at governance level, yet they're the majority voters, they're the majority of the population that is taking advantage, that we need to amend the constitution to give youths, for example, 12 seats and women 20 seats? How do you balance this issue in relation to the national crisis we face?
Let me start by stating, Ambassador Mwamba, that I think that time has come for us as a country to reposition ourselves in so far as leadership is concerned. Now, the idea of young people's participation in governance is not new. Those who are very keen with history will remember that, in fact, the very foundation of this country is around the young people. Many Zambians will remember, those who have followed history, that is actually the young people who gave Zambia its original foundation, or its foundation as you want to call it, okay? Because at the time when Zambia, wanted to walk away from the colonial masters, it was the young people that came together, marched in cha-cha-cha and the like. If you remember, our founding fathers, KK and Tim, they were basically young people. They are the ones who went and fought the colonial masters. And what we have as Zambia now is as a result of the young people then coming together to say no, or to continued, being under the leadership of the colonial masters. So we are not, when we suggest that time has come for young people to, get involved in leadership, we are not in any way reinventing the wheel. We have been here before, except over time, Ambassador Mwamba, over time, the elders that got into, or that grew with the leadership of this country, decided to alienate the young people and relegated them into the terraces. Of course, with a famous adage which says, young people are future leaders. And so the two sides, the old have comfortably pushed the agenda of young people are future leaders. And the young people on the other side have also been very comfortable being told that theirs is a time sometimes in the future. So on this journey, we are not in any way trying to do something that has never been done. We are not reinventing the wheel. We are basically saying, perhaps time has come for us to go back to the foundation where we came back. Because we've seen the progress that was made in yesteryears when the young people were in charge of this country, okay? And we are thinking maybe we need to go back to where we come from, where we started from. And also, you can see quite a good number of examples that I can put, through today of the many countries now that are in the hands of the new generation of leaders and just what they are able to do. So, is the call justified? I think that the call is justified because there's so many factors at play, particularly that times have moved, okay? We're now living in a technology era, and most of our old politicians are out of tune with the needs of the now times. So you see many people beginning to adjust because, again, like they say, people need to start adjusting to the need for young people to also be embraced into the leadership equation. Those who are going to resist this age may actually be consumed by the change itself. That is why you see some leaders quickly adjusting. I'm very cognizant of our mother in Namibia, who in some circles is quoted as saying, look, she's going to run for one term and be able to pass on power to a younger president or a younger aspirant. Because like many, she's seeing that the wave is blowing towards a youthful leadership. You can see, like you have said, Ambassador Mwamba, that even our own president, HH, has realized that, unfortunately, we need to give an opportunity to the young people. Else, the young people may take the leadership by force. Now, the idea of this movement was muted because there's never been political will in this country to embrace young people. I am a living example of how a system has been crafted to more or less sideline the young people or alienate the young people, push them into the terraces, until myself and many of my peers in the last election of 2021 decided to walk solo after rejection. Myself as an example, I was rejected twice at adoption in 2016 and 2021. It was in 2021 that I realized that, unfortunately, political power may not be given to the young people on a silver platter. And so it called for us as young people to realize that we are on our own. But what we are trying to do through this movement is looking into the future. We don't need to allow young people to continue surviving on their own, okay? Politically, that is. We need now to create a platform where young people who may not have, the power to compete, that is economically, that politics now is extremely commercial. And so many young people who have nothing to do right now, but have got immense potential at leadership, needs to be given an opportunity by being part of this platform we have created. So this platform, the Movement for Good Governance, specifically designed to give a chance to the young people. I know the age by our current leader, President HH, realizing that unfortunately the young people have realized their worth and value, and they are no longer going to wait for anybody to give them an opportunity. They are going to create that opportunity on themselves. They are now coming on the table with some enticements. And part of the enticement on the part of the current leadership is by way of suggesting in the amendment of the Constitution that they make a provision that will embrace young people into Parliament, as an example. Now, there's a very outrageous proposition being made by the UPND government in their proposal towards constitutional reforms, namely that they want to give 12 spaces for young people. Now, for all intent and purposes, that is, that's absurd, because what the UPND are proposing is that they want to increase the members of Parliament by almost 92 seats more. Remember, our current Parliament has 156 constituencies, meaning 156 MPs who are elected at any given election. And then you have 8 that are nominated by the president, and then you, of course, have got 2 speakers. They are also regarded as members of Parliament, the speaker and the first deputy speaker. So you have 156 who are elected. have 8, that makes it one, that is 64, plus the 2, a speaker and deputy, we have 166. Okay, now the UPND government is proposing that on top of the 166, they add 55 more members of parliament by creating 55 constituencies. They are also proposing that they add 20 seats for women. They are also proposing that they add 12 seats for youths, and they are also proposing that they add, 3 seats for the disabled. So the number is coming to, we are basically saying the UPND is proposing to add 92 new seats. Now, imagine you add 92 new seats, but you only provide for only 12 seats for young people. Remember, Your Excellency, Ambassador, that the young people of this country forms up approximately 65 to 70% of our population. So if you genuinely believe that the young people have been marginalized, how do you then propose that you must only give 12 seats to this bigger constituents? Because if President HH was fair in his proposition, he should have proposed for more seats to be given to the young people as opposed to those 10 seats. Okay? Which is why my call to the young people has been, this is nothing in the line of recognition, that they've recognized you, that you're an important stakeholder in the governance system. This is basically a ploy to hoodwink the young people into believing that the current leadership of the UPND, from the blues, now loves the young people. Now, the members will tell you by Mwamba that there's a saying in Bemba which says, Ichikwang kabachimwena kumam palanya. Somebody who loves you will demonstrate in small things, okay? That is to say, indeed the UPND government was cognizant of the importance of the young people in the equation of leadership. They would have demonstrated before. Number one, when President HH was nominating 8 members of parliament, if indeed he truly valued the participation of young people, he could have at least nominated 1 person. When the president was appointing ministers, there are, is it 23 or so ministers currently? Among those ministers we have now, there's none who can be referred to a youth. Again, the president missed an opportunity to demonstrate to the young people that he actually cares, for the young people by at least appointing 1 youth. And also at adoption, because at adoption, it is within the powers of the political powers to, have all these facets included, the women, the disabled, and the youth. The question is, did the UPND recognize the women? Did the UPND recognize the youth? Did the UPND recognize the disabled at adoption? Let's talk about the appointment that came after, winning power by the UPND. How many young people did President HH send into foreign service? How many young people did he recognize into, quasi-government institution? How many young people were appointed as permanent secretaries or as district commissioners? That is where you would see whether somebody truly does value the contribution of the young people. Which is, I sit on this set and I can proudly tell the young people that all those attempts to suggest that now through the constitutional amendment, suddenly the UPND cares about the young people are not true. It's boza, woofy, okay, woovela. They are basically trying to hoodwink you as young people into believing that from nowhere, from the blues, they now care about you. From experience, I can tell you that the system of politics in Zambia has unfortunately been designed to keep away young people into spectators. Unfortunately, the young people's contribution cannot be ignored because as we go into the campaigns, it is the young people who are going to be relied on. okay? Because the elders cannot campaign, all right? The elders require the young people to create the stage, then they jump on and do their campaigning. The elders cannot go into the battlefield and face off with competitors. When it comes to fighting, which is what I don't believe we should do, it is again the young people who are set into the battlefield to fight off by the same old people who today wants to show that they actually care for the young people. So you can see that for the young people, there's need to balance these insinuations or suggestions being made by those in power today that from nowhere they now care about the participation of the young people, and they would want to amend the constitution so that they can recognize the young people, which in another way we can say is all complete deception. Because by the way, Mwamba, the current laws does not stop young people from participating in politics. What has not been,
thank you, Honorable.
What has been the missing link?
Thank you very much. Allow me, what is your status on this constitutional making process? Despite the guidance that was given by the Constitutional Court of how we should proceed with the constitutional making process. And number two, despite the directive and reprimand to the president that he had broken so many articles of the Constitution in his earlier process of Bill 7. Bill 7 is still active on the floor of the House. It has never been formally withdrawn. Two, the president has set up this technical committee without any legal framework, and he has given it 1 month to come up with a draft constitution that should be given to him by 26th of November. The reasons they are using is, as out of those 13 reasons, the attractive ones is the issue of young people, 12 seats, issues of women, 20 seats, and issues of delimitation, that some constituencies are so big. It's like they want to protect certain MPs that they can't refuse to adopt, and they want to demarcate those constituencies. But Laz, the church, and other key stakeholders have said they will not participate in this process. They've decided to boycott the process, that it lacks legitimacy, legality, and it's being done. Who is driving this process? I don't know if you and your group have thought about the current constitutional making process, and what will you do to attempt to stop it?
Ambassador, I can say, on set and make an appeal to the president. The current constitutional undertaking is a recipe for anarchy, and the president must stop that right now. Look, you cannot continue to deceive people throughout the entire term of 5 years. The UPND have continued to lie and deceive the Zambian people from the time of their campaigns up until now. They still keep on deceiving people. Let's go back to what you have basically given as an intro. So the UPND from nowhere comes up with a list of clauses that they wanted, inserted into the constitution or otherwise amended, okay? Now, throughout history, whether from Bakaunda into MMD into PF, the constitutional amendment process has always been originated from the people, okay? Which is why those that came before us enacted a law called the Inquiries Act to give power to the president to put together a team of, technical minds, okay, that will then go in, throughout the country to get submission from the people as to what the people would want to see changed in the constitution, either by way of removing or adding. Interestingly, the UPND, under the guise of cutting costs, decided from their bedrooms or boardrooms to come up with a list of clauses that they wanted to amend. Of course, through the watchful eyes of citizens like Honorable Munia Zulu Celestine, this matter was taken into court because, as always, the UPND were adamant despite all the major stakeholders saying they needed not to proceed. Now that there was a ruling from the Constitutional Court that this process was flawed, it was unconstitutional, what normal people would have done was to completely halt the process. Now, halting the process would have meant, let us completely withdraw Bill 7 out of Parliament. What has happened right now is that we are still dealing with a Bill 7 that was declared by the courts as unconstitutional, which still sits in Parliament in the shelves. What the UPND simply have done is to defer Bill 7. It is still very active under the records of Parliament, and they are intending to bring it back in its original form. Because guess what? When the president now appears to want to do the right thing, in the name of going to the people to consult or receive submissions, he has constituted a not so technical team, because when you look at the composition of the so-called technical team, I can see 1 or 2 people who are technical in constitutional matters. The rest are just there to give them to keep up the numbers. But you see, that's a subject for another day's conversation. But the point is, the president now seemingly wants to do the right thing and puts together a technical committee. Interestingly, he gives them the terms of reference. Now, the terms of reference is what defines what sort of work the team is going to undertake. If you go through the list of the terms of reference, you'll find that they're basically trying to legitimize Bill 7. They're basically trying to clothe Bill 7 so that then it conforms to what the Constitutional Court had ruled, that it must be a process of consultation from the people, when in essence, it is the same Bill 7 in its entirety, and they've constituted a team to just go and clean it up, to legitimize it. So I can say ba Mwamba kwebati, bulya bufi bale chitaba UPND, need deception of the highest order. But you see, you cannot continue to take people for a ride, which is why now people are enlightened. They will not allow to be deceived or to be taken for a ride, which is why you see major stakeholders like the church, the Catholic Church as number 1, Caritas has refused to be part of the process. The Law Association of Zambia has also walked away. The NGOCC representing the women have also walked away, and many others. Now, when the UPND are trying to hoodwink the women to say we are doing this constitution for you, the women themselves can actually see that they are being taken for a ride. And through the NGOCC, the women have decided to stay away. I think that normal leadership would look at the numbers of stakeholders, important stakeholders, who have decided to stay away and halt the exercise. To proceed in the manner, and I want to repeat, is a recipe for anarchy. And the president must not come and say, you did not tell me. I am here on behalf of the people telling the president, this exercise is bogus and it must be halted. I think, Mwamba, that is these are the sentiments that are shared by many MPs today, including those from the UPND who just can't speak out. But because of the environment now, people are keeping it to themselves. I am here because if to Tina, telling the president that Bamdala, you are headed in the wrong direction, and this attempt may backfire at some point.
The trouble is the obstinacy by the president. He literally doesn't listen. He doesn't yield to public pressure. He doesn't yield to the demands of our people. If he did, the concerns that have been raised by our people, where he was going to abandon the process and respect the will of stakeholders and the people. In whose interest is he doing this? No one can tell, because constitutional making process is a subject of the people. It's the people that should move the process, not the UPND or the president. This brings me to another matter. Before I invite you to give us the scenario status of our country and we go to the issue of the opposition, there are worrying trends in the region. First of all, there seems to be winds of change, as we saw in Botswana, where a new president was elected, but there's also fierce resistance. You have the upheavals in Madagascar, where young people kept on complaining about load shedding. That wasn't even 12 hours. It was 12, 14 hours. It wasn't even 24 hours. A new government has emerged there through, unconstitutional means. In Kenya, there was a serious issue of taxes. The president introduced a measure of new taxes, and the young people said, look, we don't have jobs, we are overtaxed, and we are overpriced, and they just nearly brought that government down, and the president responded with a strong hand against what you call the Gen Z, put down that unrest, but it cost his government. He fired nearly everyone and brought in new people in his government. The worrying aspects in Tanzania are a source of worry, where the president barred his men, in his chief rivals. The two main political parties were prevented from participating in the election, and she manipulated the Electoral Commission, and we've had now social unrest the last 3 days. Today she was being sworn in. She was being sworn in a military barrack, something that has never happened in Tanzania. You go to a public place in a stadium and you receive your dignitary. And it looks like SADC, the Eastern Africa community, the Great Lakes region leaders shunned it. But our brother, our leader, our elder brother, President Hakainde Hichilema, went there. I would invite your comment about these trends and your warning to Zambia of how we can prevent this worrying scenario. This is President Hakainde Hichilema among the, I think, is it 3 or 5 leaders that turned up out of almost 40 leaders from the sub-region.
We know the value of peace, security, and stability. I want to appeal to the people of Tanzania, mainland, Zanzibar, Pemba, and others, that what you have enjoyed over years, decades, must be protected at all costs. At all costs. You cannot try the opposite. You cannot experiment the opposite. To have a breakdown in the rule of law and order. You don't have to look too far. Just look at countries that are afflicted by this menace. I call it a menace. And once you lose it, you probably never regain it properly. It will linger on and destabilizing children in school, destabilizing families, essentially taking away the time, the resources, and all the efforts meant for development. That's the quest I decided to place on the table today. And that all of us in this region, on our continent, must work day and night tirelessly to maintain peace, security, stability for development. Very simple. Peace, security, stability for development.
Now, Honorable Mpundu, the trouble with that speech, properly advisory, is misdirected. He seems to be condemning those that are protesting. He seems to be condemning those that have brought Tanzania to unrest. Typical of dictators, he has not reprimanded the wanton arrest of members of the opposition, the torture, abduction, and disappearance of critics and members of the opposition in Tanzania. He has not condemned the reason the main competitors were bad, but he's, giving advice that there should be no protests, no riots, no nothing, instead of reprimanding where the source of the problem is to the same lady he was sitting next to. What are your views?
Interesting, Your Excellency Mwamba. The members have coined up from time in memory an adage saying, akanyerere nga wakapimpirira kalasuma. Now, that is to say to all those that are in the habit of taking advantage of others, one day those others will say enough is enough. And that is what we are seeing, unfortunately, happening, across the continent and beyond, because, these, unrests started in as far as Nepal and other countries before, we started seeing these happenings in Africa. Now, like you said, there are a grouping of people who are saying we've been taken for a ride for far too long, and they are not prepared, whatsoever to continue being treated as the case has been. Now, we have, and I can say this, and I'm being very careful, Your Excellency, that, because our friends are very, jittery about being reminded of doing the right thing, I'm carefully trying to select the words that I must use in also making an appeal to His Excellency, President HH. Interestingly, President HH decides to go to the inauguration ceremony in Tanzania when not too long ago he, snapped the invitation to go to Malawi. Now, in contrast, Malawi was a peaceful election. Tanzania was an election that was characterized by, a lot of undemocratic tendencies or practices, if you want to call it that way. Interesting, our president decides to go to Tanzania, where people were killed for merely being or participating in the electoral process. For those who may not know, peaceful demonstrations are part of a democratic equation. And there's no way a government would go and shoot down peaceful protesters. And that, unfortunately, is what we are seeing there. You ask a question as to why is the president only condemning those who were peacefully protesting and not those who were inflicting pain on those who were basically exercising their rights as provided for in the democratic dispensation. Unfortunately, what was happening in Tanzania, or what is happening in Tanzania, is exactly what is happening in Zambia, insofar as the leadership and the approach or the relationship with those who are of opposing view is concerned. In Zambia today, anyone who speaks out, especially against the current government, is labeled enemy number one and will either be slapped with a jail sentence or otherwise. For the first time in the history of this country, political figures have been disappearing, have been abducted. The case of my dear brother JJ, to many up to now, they think it was a stage-managed issue. But I think that those who are normal in the thinking now knows that JJ was abducted, unfortunately, by people we all know, because this system has decided to protect them. Okay? It's not an isolated case of abduction. We saw even Judge Muma being abducted. So what is happening in Tanzania is not an isolated case. It is also happening here in Zambia. Should the ending be the same? I don't think the ending should be the same. Zambia should not take the path of Tanzania. But for us to avoid Zambia going the path of Tanzania, there must be, actions taken by those in power vis-a-vis President HH must ensure that he desists or he stops the arrest and sending to jail of political opponents. Okay? Also, we on the opposition are expected to obviously censure our people and also, be careful with the language, that we spill out to the public. So it's a collective responsibility, because the peace we have cherished for the last 60 years must continue to be harnessed by all of us who are in the political equation. But it takes the two of us to tango. It takes those in power to refrain from those undemocratic tendencies, arresting political opponents. Today, we have so many people who are running away from the country because the justice system is no longer there. The justice system, the courts have been weaponized to hunt down anyone with dissenting views. Some of us are being persecuted I know I can't delve onto these matters, but the public is aware that we are being persecuted for nothing, for simply, being of or expressing divergent views to those who are in power today. So there are great lessons to be learned from all these upheavals that are happening in the region. The Madagascan president had to flee. I don't know how long the conflict in Tanzania is going to be contained or is going to go on, but I think that these are things that could have been prevented if only those in power chose to be democrats as opposed to, autocrats. So I think that they're great lessons, and now that President HH traveled to go to Tanzania to be a witness to that so-called inaugural ceremony, I think when as he comes back home, I know he has just come back home, he needs to take an introspection and do the opposite of what his sister has been doing in that, in that country. We are all stakeholders in ensuring that we continue to harness the peace that Zambia has enjoyed over the last 60 years.
Thank you. Before we open the phone lines, dear callers and dear viewers, you can share the broadcast. We are hosting Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, independent MP for Nkana constituency and leader of this good governance initiative that he has, Ichabayiche, where he wants to use a platform as a movement to rally you to register as voters to participate in elections. What is your role? I know the movement you have is not a political party. Are there plans to turn it into a political party? You've hinted that you are available for leadership in 2026. Are you collaborating with members of the opposition, or will you go as a lone wolf with the young people to the ballot? What are your active thoughts around this issue?
Thank you, Your Excellency Mwamba. Very important question. The starting point is that the Movement for Good Governance, Ichabayiche, is a political grouping. Whatever it is that we are doing is basically creating a platform for young people to get involved in governance. At the end of the day, we want young people in the next election to participate, okay? And so what we've created is basically a platform to groom young people, to give them the technical know-how to navigate the political complexities or campaign complexities, to mobilize resources for them, to also give them ultimately a ride into power. So we want at the end of the day in 2026 to see young people participate at all levels of governance, be it at councillor level, mayor, MP. Ultimately, we desire that we should have a youthful president, or rather aspirant for the presidential seat. Do we want to go or rally these young people and ultimately push them to run as independents? That now is a question of deliberation within our establishment. We have two choices to make. Either we are going to push these young people to go and participate in the election as independents, or we are going to have them ride on using a political outfit. So Your Excellency Mwamba, you must know we are ready for both. We are ready to push these young people to stand as independents. We are also ready to have them stand on a political grouping. All things being equal, all these avenues have been properly structured and prepared, and it will just be a matter of the timings and seeing what would be the best way to go. Now, the idea of the movement was to give a chance to the young people to get involved in governance. There are some political groupings that shares similar ideologies as ourselves, in which case we are very ready to collaborate with such groupings. That is to say, for us, we are carefully studying the political atmosphere, particularly on the opposite side of things, the opposition, should our colleagues who are on the opposition show sign of being available to embrace the idea of young people also getting involved in governance, I want to publicly say we are available to collaborate with such a grouping of people. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's not about the other young people, it's about the country and what is best for the country. And so if two groupings shares the same ideologies, share the same aspirations for the future we desire for the country, I don't see the need for us to go separate ways. In which case, I must mention, we are in talks with a number of these political groupings to see if their approaches align with our approaches. And if that be the case, I publicly want to say we are available to align ourselves with such a grouping.
Thank you very much. The lines are now open. We are hosting Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, Member of Parliament for Nkana and leader of Ichaba Iche. Whatever questions you have, just then, make the call. The lines are open. People are asking, where is the number? The number is on the red corner. If you see the red corner on your screen, that's the number we are using. Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, despite the state of the country that you and I have defined in our previous broadcast, and it is no longer in dispute that the state of the country is in a crisis, whether it's energy crisis, we're having the worst load shedding in 60 years, whether it's a cost of living crisis, the worst cost of living crisis literally in living memory. If you are looking at every aspect, the country is facing an existential threat. Yet the UPND have this hopeful narrative that things are better, that they're restructuring the debt, and that the economy is now posting economic growth of up to 5 to 6%. Inflation is down. It's like we live in two alternative realities. From your perspective, this arrogance of the UPND, don't you fear that we may go the Tanzanian way, where the elections may not be free and fair, because they're already predetermined, pre-issues like the status of the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the parallel status of the UPND, where they think things are going well. But it looks like we have callers. My phones are buzzing. Keep that question. You are going to answer it with these calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and just a minute, caller. Let me just disconnect the Bluetooth. Yes, caller, you are our first caller. Please ask Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba any question.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, and good evening, Honorable Mwamba. I am Don Oscar. I'm calling from Italy.
Please make your contribution.
Thank you very much. I understand a lot of beautiful things that Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba has said, and I'm not going to go through those things. I'm just I share also the sadness on his face when he was talking about what has happened, what has transpired in Tanzania. Indeed, it's so shocking. It's very shocking. But also that one, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that one. I come back to the idea of Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, your acceptance of opening your movement to work in collaboration or in partnership with other people, them being political parties or other movements. I have to say thank you for that openness. And I would like just to suggest to you, Honorable Mwamba, you said, and this is what I wanted to underline. You mentioned that you are open to collaborate with other groups, as long as they line with your system of working together or your thoughts. And now, and here is my question. You see, we are here in Italy. We have a government which is coming together of two different parties. One is that of the Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, and the other one is that of Salvini. Salvini is another political party. These two political parties, they are totally different. They are totally different. But then the question is, how did they come together? Honorable Salvini, Salvini and the Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, how did they come together when they are totally opposite? They had to sit down and they looked at the interest of the country. They said the country needed their collaboration and they came together. Here is the question. Regardless of the difference in opinion or method or political orientation, can't you reason, can't you think of this idea coming together for the sake of what the Zambian people are asking you as opposition leaders? People are shouting, are crying, people are silent, and silent speaks louder these days than ever. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, my name is Chilando. I'm calling from Lusaka. Calling in the dark now.
In the dark,
power
yes.
has been reduced to 3 hours.
Oh my.
So, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Proceed.
Yes, so Ambassador, we are in a crisis in this country. And Honorable Mpundu, like my previous caller was saying, if we don't come together and for a good cause to liberate this country, we are in for a good beating. If we can let these people go through the next 5 years, you know what will happen to you, Honorable yourself. You know how much they are after your neck. So we need to really identify those people that are with the same views as yours, you know. Just today, the few days we've seen how now they are targeting the Socialist Party. They want to kill the Socialist Party the same way they killed the PF. As we speak right now, PF has got no platform to stand on. The SP is almost going the same direction. I've always said, if we look at this other party for Anderson Banda, he has stood twice. He has got a platform for most of our people. Why can't we go and sit down with Anderson Banda? Because going forward towards the election, I'm telling you, it's going to be difficult for these people to even allow new parties to be registered. I submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Anonymous here.
Yes. Anonymous,
So,
make
my
your contributions.
Yeah, so my contribution is based on, I like what Mr. Mpundu is actually, the point is articulated, and I really appreciate. We, the youths, we need to see that there is a different type of blood coming in our politics. At least we can't always be, recycling our same politicians, same old politicians. I think we need to change the strategy of how we approach our politics, because we've got a lot of young people who can actually represent the country well and who can actually do well. But unfortunately, because of we've got politics of regionalism, we've got politics of bitterness, we've got politics of tribalism, at the end of the day, it becomes difficult for the youths to take part, because at the end of the day, the youths are the backbone of this country. Then to make matters worse, one thing that I've been reading comments about people saying, no, our president had gone to Tanzania because he was thinking to say it's because of the economic trade between us and Tanzania. At the end of the day, we must also be honest with ourselves to say our president went there it must be commended, yes. But at the end of the day, this is SADC, the board that looks at the whole Southern Africa politics and other things that interest the whole region. And then we ask ourselves questions to say, does it mean these other presidents couldn't attend because they just wanted to, they didn't want to attend, or what's going on? So at the end of the day, we define our, in our way of we reason and look at things, because some people who support the UPND, they think that's the best way to approach the issue. But some people who are neutral, they'll say, no, okay, this could have been avoided, maybe things could have been done like this and this and that. Then the last thing that I would love to ask Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba is my question is there a chance that we can actually collaborate with other political parties, just like he said, is open to any party coming in, but more especially the likes of John Sangwa? I see there are a lot of young intelligent politicians, just like this John Sangwa. There is also this man, GP, I don't know if GPZ president. We have got Andy Ford Mayere Banda. We've got so many young minds, even the likes of Kasonde Mwenda. All those poor young minds, if we can team up, we can create something with a few of, the old folks. Trust me, I'm sure the movement for HRIH can actually bring results in the next few years. So I'm looking at PF. PF has been destabilized. I don't think there's a way PF will come back. I really don't think so. It will be very difficult. The same SP is being also, damaged. And then at the end of the day, you should look at the democracy. It's shrinking going forward. We need the fresh minds, and we need people to, to wake up and start thinking ahead of this recycled way of politics that we are doing in Zambia. Thank you so much.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening. I will stay anonymous today. And good evening to Honorable Mpondo. I just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to call the time Fred member was on, but I failed to get through. You see, this thing of what is happening to the opposition parties in Zambia right now, it started with parties like the Mr. Kalaba's original party, what's a Democratic Party or something like that. Little by little, parties were hunted down, and others did not speak for their friends then because they thought it cannot happen to them. Next, it was the PF. And then we have the Citizens First. You know how it was difficult for Mr. Kalaba to get it registered. And then we have now Socialist Party seems to be the one being hunted. Next, it will be HRIH or any other party. So the opposition, when we talk about unity for the opposition, it's not just about us as the electorate who want to see a united opposition and we vote for one candidate, but it's for your own survival as the opposition in Zambia. And for the democracy of Zambia to continue growing as it has been, we need a stable opposition.
Oh, have we lost my sister? Okay, I think she has made that point clear. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Make your contributions, my brother.
Contribution and therefore Bino Mpundu I am a George Valera and Lokavat Nava Quata Filawamona in political party in Shiagovat Vaendera Chapamo, Nefu Varepo Avena, Parino Insta, Bafui Wafunya Puef, Parino Insta Chiruani Puete, Iva UPND. Don't some difference and two differences in Mre Quata, about opposition, Navambi, what Fili to Funyapo, Parino Insta. Tufiro kumonokwevat opposition kwabo kwikatana mwatungira fyomo but president yo mwatungira bonse ngati wafunya kwaba ero ifwenomba ero kwaisa umbirida ero kabenombo kwambo kulaiteka wino kumonokwevat wafunya po first chirwani chintu kwete pali nonje otherwise ngamwa nani kani mwabiko kwebati mumwaisa iminina bakala vai minina bambi vai minino ko mukesa sango kwebati ngamwalosha pakwati nani ama voters kati barera ndabare topinga nikopa peoti na Lusaka pakonga ku Southern Province bena kule kumya bokuti ngamwalokesha pali ino nsta ya mavoti yabo yali kala filafine bali parking atokwe bati ayesu kukwashala tukalasenda kofe turerunda kofe so tukalachi tukamkasanga ti munga mwami na babini wa Mpundu na umbya imini nasenda kwa mavoti na umbya senda kwa mavoti na umbya senda kwa mavoti kwene ku stronghold kumyenuko mukalaka na mavoti mukata spread mavoti ninchimwapera ba UPND chance bakesa pita ndinga bapita fintu bale chusha ba opposition bakesamba nomba nokulayingira nakube ne mayanda fwe bantu nako bakaletuchusha so twapapata bombere ni chapa mupari ino nchitafyonse ofya kwe bati namkwatira ma issues sifunyeni po sentu bombere fe chapa mu opposition twikatane bonse chapa mu and opposition wakwe bati aisa imini na paru wakwe uya mshuwa kwati paline teti muvote no kumvota kama opposition wakwe bati nabe ikatana chapa mu sentu funyepo bukaite mwanga trefo echaro che kuntashi ngatwafunyapo fyaba ero tukashari mutende nomba ero tukashari turekirikishanya nomba ero tukabika ponga twamuno kwe batashupa amushuwa na eneo ine 2031 kuti nasa mvotera babini we mpundu but pali inonshita isentu ikatana twapapata tuluguli abantu mone abanenu ba jeje banda bali kutuka bali kufyalo uko bali bachitira abduct na bambi abantu abaleka kwa bali mu kifungo nomba ngato abalekeresha abantu bakafuira mu kifungo and na mubeni apo yali bani target abapene tulera ndapata tuishiwe fika konga mukesasa ngati na mubeni bamukononkesha kayo walanda kofe uli omuntu ule monika kwati aleba challenge inshaba murwani kuli bena imubeni apo babini we mpundu li target kuli ba UPND so sentu bombere chapa mwecha abaiche chitungirire political party iri mumaka kwati ya PF iri mumaka tuitungire ngayapita ero tukashare tuamba nomba webeni tuambo kwira isunsukanya na mapati yesu natotera mkwai.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me just take a few more calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Mwamba ninevonsa kwateshi navabinwe mpundu mulishani navaambasada Mwamba lelo lekeni tulande kumchibemba pantunga tulelanda mukisungu tulabasanda limited
Mkwai
namawedi ninkwata kokwesheni kalambasana kuli babinwe mpundu ichibemba chilanda muno umata usalanda mwadishi banefyo alwacha amanda yafumine mwifwesa yaya mchulu so nomba imwe mwali kwata political party yenu iyo kulingana nepo bachilanda bafather Mpombwe bachilanda fye chishingo kwe bati nangufe mwinga pusana mumano lero ikataneni mubike amano pamo kweshe neyo mikwatire tata babinwe mpundu ya kutila bushe echo muluisha nokupanga group yenu ila chinsha mano yonse namukwata nomba ngatamulolekesha pali chile chinto chomulelwisha uli apa atina na mano yandi na maka yandi uli apa atina na mano yandi na maka yandi ifile nombe filele ngokweba chifintu mchalo tafile wama iyo nangu apa anono so imo mufuile mwaikatana ifi chitike ku Tanzania tulanda tikwaliva horse na rider so uli omukashana wa ku Tanzania she was a horse and someone else was riding that horse mwamona so nombanga chakweva titapali abakweto lusena mano yonzera nokuikatana pamwe fintu tete fibombe so fyonse ife mulanda twali fyumfa bantu bonse bama politician mulanda fe fintu fe fimona fimo omoshachela ikataneni mwe bantu twana ko kulanda fwe bale mililira ni fwevo epo na pera papeni.
Thank you very much. Thank you, caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Namuposha ba Mwamba.
Endita.
Namuposha ba Mwamba na posha na ba brother bandi ba chansa.
Yes.
Aposha ba brother bandi ba chansa na chira Facebook batasha ba chansa nchito bare bomba ikuru sana. Especially kuno kopa belt ba chansa bare bomba nchito ikuru sana. Ishina randi ne bwa budu. Bachansa bare chita organize imisepera munshira isu iri niki iverereko nechocho bare chita bachansa tekwe batiyo bare ishira parwabo bachansa bari rango kutemwe cyaro no kwikatana nabantu amamana no ni ku parliament kwinofu babomba ba independent but barabombera pamuna na opposition kwino sana fi na mu mirimo orona no mibombere yabo ni ari nchita impress because bachansange ngabaye mpira mwabali sana disappointed robo bali twelera pakurufyanya to abarufyenye bali subina no kubombera na papamu so na pene chintu chireze chiri kuntanshi na chirafu anchitashi abantu njere bachansa to abana bena bachansa te bantu bakwati yo bala terententera pamusunga emkwai.
Thank you Abdul. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I remain anonymous. I'd called earlier, but I dropped off. Power just went, so the network goes off until Take some time to stabilize. Yes. So actually, we've only had power for about 2 hours today. So as I was saying, Honorable Mpondo, I think you're one of the few MPs who understand your job. I follow your debates in Parliament. You always bring up progressive issues, even though your speech is usually curtailed. Please continue what you're doing. And I want to agree with you that the young people need to step up now. Like you said, our founding fathers were actually very young when they were fighting for independence. Mr. Mwanga was only 26 or so when he became an ambassador, similar to the likes of Mr. Arabi. And our president was only 40 when he became president, KK. So this thing of saying the future, yes, the future leaders are the youth, yes, but they need to start now, because how are they going to fill the big boots of the older ones if they are not actively engaging in the meaningful politics right now? So please continue what you're doing, but I will say, like many other Zambians, please unite to serve the country, and also for your own survival as an opposition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Yes.
Hello, this is Precious Sinonge from Livingstone.
Yes, Precious. Make your contribution.
Yes, I just wanted to contribute. I don't have any question. What I wanted to say is I was asking if all the opposition leaders, they can be united for now, because right now, Emmanuel Mwamba has a very, very good ideas for the people of Zambia, but if they are not going to be united for now, he will not succeed like to become a leader of this nation, because right now we don't have democracy in Zambia. As you know that in time of our late former president, democrats were there. This is why you see even the UPND themselves, they were free to do their campaign. But now you can see that all our opposition leaders, they are now in prison, including yourself, Honorable. You are that side as if you are not a Zambian. So for now, we should just work together to make sure that UPND is out of power, and Emmanuel Mwamba also can come and rule this nation one day. So God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The lines are so coming on. Let's just take a few more, then we allow Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba to answer. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, Jacob calling from Zambia, Kitwe.
Jacob, make your contributions.
My only plea is kindly tell the leaders to organize themselves. This issue of everyone wants to be a president, it's annoying us. We want a united opposition. Everyone should rally behind that one person. Let them have in mind of the people that they've jailed. Chilangwa, Chitotela, Lusambo. These are the guys that have been jailed. If they can only have them in mind and look at the nation at large, then we'll be able to go next year and we'll be able to come out victorious. But let them not have I syndrome. Let them look at the picture, the bigger picture at large, then we'll be able to overcome. But the I syndrome is going to destroy everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The lines are still coming on. I hope you are taking note of the questions, Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba. They want to speak to you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, Mr. Mwamba. I'm calling from US. My name is Monde. I just want to contribute to Emmanuel Mwamba.
Thank you.
Firstly, I just want to appreciate the stand. You always stand in Parliament. You always stand for Zambian people. But what I can advise him, or what I can say, as you can see right now in Zambia, things are not good. There's no democracy. So for him to stand alone, it will be impossible, and it will be like he's standing for himself, not for Zambian people. As Zambian people, they are passing through problems this time. I can advise that
all the political parties, all the presidents who wants to stand, let them come together so that they can remove this mountain we have in Zambia right now. Then maybe after 2031 is when now they can stand now, because right now we have a mountain. We don't know how this mountain will come out, but it will come out by uniting as political parties coming together. So for now, I can urge all the political parties to come together so that they can work together and do things together so that we can remove this mountain. That is our plea. Zambian people are suffering. If they're not going to let that, then the suffering in Zambia will continue. And the way where we are today, we have the Zambian people have electricity maybe for 2 hours, for 3 hours. Now maybe it will be just 30 minutes having electricity. And suffering, people of Zambia, they will suffer like I don't know. So please, my plea, Babinwa Mpundu, please, choose one person who can stand for all of you just to remove this mountain. That is our prayer.
Thank you.
So this
Thank
is
you.
our contribution.
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Thank you, Ambassador. Let me just remain anonymous.
Yes, anonymous.
Yeah, for me, my contribution, I think, won't even take long because this issue has been going on and on for a very long time. And at this point, we expected by opposition to come and just tell us, to say, this is where we are. But they are still telling us they have Burma trust issues, they have what. So what I want to ask them, because I'm sure a lot are listening over Honorable Binwo Mpundu, you can even take the message. In where you are expecting HH to look at what he's doing, what he has done, where he has gone to go and attend that inauguration to Tanzania, where things were bad, and he's okay with that. So I'm asking you about opposition. Can you do an introspection of each and every one of you and see if your personal interests are bigger than that of the whole nation? Because right now, I'm a problem. Everyone knows deep down to say, the person we have right now, mu government, he's not just going to sit and allow everyone to do that and expect us to have a victory as the opposition. So can you look at yourselves, each and every one of you, and ask yourselves, are your interests bigger than those of the nation? That's all I can say, Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me revert to Honorable Binwo Mpundu. You have a flurry of questions and the phones continue to come, but let's allow you to respond to some of them. And others have now just sent me the pictures from Tanzania where there are very ugly pictures of people that have died. The estimation is about 700, through the repression of the police to quell down that unrest. The pictures are ugly. They can't even be shown even on Facebook or this platform. But it just goes to see how our people are concerned that our president appeared to have gone to endorse something. But please take the questions that have come to you about unity and what we need to do as the opposition.
Ambassador, there seems to be one very common concern from the people, and all those who have called are justified in their cause. The appeal for unity amongst the opposition is a very justifiable call. Now, I just want to mention this because because it's a common call, so I'll speak to all those callers just from one statement. Those of you who are very familiar with history, who agree with me, or at least go back to history, you remember that we've been here before. The ambassador in 1991 or 1990, prior to the 1991 elections, we only had UNIP. And those who read history will tell you UNIP was much more stronger than the UPND. The UPND kuli UNIP, they are nothing. Okay? Now, the Zambian people pushed for Kaunda to revert us back to multipartism. And history will tell you that Kaunda was advised to call for early elections, meaning that the opposition had a very limited time to form political parties and galvanize support and win the election. History will tell you that in 1991, I need to be corrected by Mwamba, you were quite older than me then, MMD was not the only political party that competed with UNIP. There were other small political parties, despite the small, the limited time that they had to mobilize themselves. But the will of the people is stronger despite the limitation in time. That is why Kaunda went down by over 80%, because MMD got 80+% of the votes then. The same is what happened in 2011. Again, we had multiple political parties that competed with UNIP, rather MMD. PF carried the day in 2011, despite having had so many political parties and votes were still split. In 2021, the same. Political parties were still many that competed, but still UPND carried the way. Now, why I'm giving this history is that from the way I know politics, it is not possible that all of us will get together. Unfortunately, I must say this, not to take away anything or to frustrate anyone, because you'll be able to navigate it properly. The cause for a united political party is justified. But I want to tell you, these politicians you see may not come together completely. We cannot have a Zambia where there is only two political parties competing. We will still have a multiple of them. In fact, that is why we went to multipartism in 1991. It's so as to allow the flourishing of multipartism, different political parties contesting. Now, do not lose hope, mwebena Zambia, in thinking nangubasalangana UPND takawe. UPND alewa for as long as you, the voters, who will have the power and will not stay home and not go to vote. Now, when are we expected to unite, if at all we are going to unite as the opposition? Uniting as different political entity is not so simple. It is a process, okay? Right now, I can tell you, I know I may be misunderstood by many who may not follow, who have not been following politics very well. We are actually better now, Mwamba, to have all these political groupings. Because like they say, don't put your eggs in one basket. What is happening right now? Babinwe balelova, ba socialist balelova, ba nani bakalaba balelova. Okay? It is good for what we want to have in 2026. Because ichala shala kofe then is for all these now to say, it's a number to say, to collapse everything, pamo lelo, may be suicide. I think the situation now is extremely healthy. As an example, there are so many young people who may not want to join Abakalamba. They are better off joining Ichabaiche. So you want those to be caught up Muchabaiche. There are others Abakalamba who say who choose to go and align with other political groupings running an Abakalamba. You need those political parties for the sake of those who say but at the end of the day, all of us will see the need to come together. What is the time frame? Banyama elections, for as long as you have decided to walk away from UPND, kuti tuwashala fena 1 month we can even come and agree in April next year kweba tinomba tuwasuminishanya tuwalaindira pamo and the UPND will go. What I can assure you, speaking for my behalf, on behalf of each other, like I said by Emmanuel, by Ambassador, if we are ready to collaborate, so asking us to unite with others is pushing an open door. We are very ready, and I speak very solidly on behalf of my colleagues who are part of the movement. We have discussed these matters, that we are very ready to collaborate. If we kunonga mwamu na kubaiche, tatuwa kwa tapu problem ili yonze. What we are also looking at is abakalamba, bachite harmonize. Because as it is, kubakalamba kudia different facets. I can speak of maybe the biggest political group we have, the Tonses. But Tonse kuli different springs of political giants. Abana badia. So today balolela bapuishe process yabo. Nga basala umo. Then if we can say ulia basala, let's go and sit down with them on the table. So this is a process. Mwinaka no kunaka, we still have a lot of time to agree to work together. Ichili po chakutila, right now we must all be doing mobilization so that peradventure tomorrow we come and agree. Nishibonsena twisa ne bumba, and it is going to help us greatly going into the next elections. But also, pantukuti muaba disappointed. Don't expect that all of us tukapone na mumomwine. There will still be others who will say ineteti njende nava, and as it is, democracy must be allowed to flourish. Those who will say ineteti njende nava, kubaleka abene bachita exercise their rights to participate in the democratic process. But on behalf of my team where I'm coming from, I want to repeat, if we tuletamba festi abanenso abadiuku ngabapuisha ma issues, we will have now an opportunity to speak. In the meantime, we are speaking to different political players in a quest to see whether we can work together. So it's a process.
I think the fear is learning from history in 1991, where it was clear after the MMD served 10 years and President Chilwa was not going for, his third term bid was foiled. He brought out a candidate, his former vice president, Levi Mwanawasa. There was so much polarization in the country in 2001 that the opposition won that election, 71%, but their votes were spread between FDD, Heritage, UNIP, UPND. 71%. Mwanawasa only got 29%, and he won that election. So there is a feeling in the country that President Hakainde Hichilema has been roundly rejected, but the opportunity may be squandered where he will be allowed to win these elections because the votes will be spread amongst yourselves. As you answer that concern, kindly also use the opportunity to give us your last remarks, Honorable Mpundu.
Mwamba, nishita yapwa. Yeah, kachepa kashita. Like you say,
ngana mkwatefia kulanda. We still can go ahead. Internet. I can give you another 15 minutes. Remember, we started late. So, but if you still have matters that we can take another. Okay, let's do this. Just thinking on top of.
Let me just do 10 minutes. Turande kufe patun tufe in summary.
Yeah. I think you can speak. We can take another set of 5 minutes phone calls because the phones is still ringing. Then we come and close. We started late, so you still have time.
In fact, mwalanda na bwino, mwatira, na mu 1991, the votes were spread, but still MMD was able to be kicked out. What is very clear with the Zambian people at this stage is that many have resolved that the UPND
No.
is a
In
failed
2001, MMD won with a narrow vote. Mwanawasa won with 29%. The opposition got 71%, but did not make it to government. That time we didn't have 50+1. So the opposition vote was 71%. So it was first past the post. So Mwanawasa got 29%, Mazoka got 28%, and the other votes were spread between UNIP, Heritage Party, FDD, and and others. So the point is, although the opposition in 2001 won that election by 71%, MMD retained power, and their candidate Mwanawasa became president because that vote for the opposition was split. I thought I could put that into context.
Okay. I think let me just end with this note on that same subject, Mwamba, and just assure the Zambian people. Like the other caller said, if we are online to being persecuted, so we know what is in store for us, and we can therefore not be very selfish. But I speak for myself, I am not speaking for others. Some of us do see the need to unite, which is why I have not beaten about the bush tonight. I have stated on behalf of the movement, that if we are prepared to collaborate. But I also want to make it a point, soundly, that maybe we need to look for more than just you beating the UPND. It is about having the change we need. The idea of ukubika pwechiri chonse ine ndashalira kwapo. I believe that we have an opportunity in 2026 to have the perfect change Zambia needs. Meaning that as we come together, we still cannot ignore the fact that we need to agree on what is the best change we need, not just for us as politicians, but for the country. Because I don't think we are being very realistic. I don't think we are doing a service to our country. We cannot afford to have a lunatic being voted just because we wanted to run away from what we thought was a terrible government. So that is why it is a process, and we must carefully undertake this process of consultations so that whoever we are going to agree to have to rally behind may be a sane person, maybe somebody that we can depend on, even if it means back after 5 years, that 5 years must not be as painful as the 5 years we've been under by UPND. Because quite frankly, this has been the most painful 5 years ever in my 43 years of living. Shatala Monapo, a political party that has been as ruthless as by UPND. But did we not know them? We knew them. History has taught us the best. We have known that the UPND has stood for violence even when they were in the opposition. Did we expect anything different? Well, some who were hoodwinked by the propaganda of the UPND thought that they were going to be a better political party. But some of us who have studied history knew that we are bringing trouble on ourselves. Now, let me very simply say, if we are ready, but we are also being careful as to what sort of an arrangement do we agree with, because we do not want to create another problem while it's walking away from this problem, which means that whatever it is that we are going to agree with must be something that is of good to us and something that will mean good for the entire country of Zambia. So don't give up the people of Zambia. We still have enough time. Lelo ni mu November, we still have the whole November, the whole December. I know that nangu ni mu February, agree. We still will have enough time for the Zambian people to now say, okay, Tualaya no you. Just like the stories of Senegal will tell you. In Senegal, it took only 11 days to go to the campaign period for Sonko to anoint fire. And everybody rallied behind that person. And that is what politics teaches us. When people have already decided to walk away from a political leader, like if you never abena Zambia na basala okobati HHTO, you know, they are now just waiting for that somebody, and that somebody can even come as late as February or March. The idea is these discussions are going on, and one day we may have something that will look like worth supporting. Ambassador Mwamba, let me conclude by saying the country is in distress. The economy has broken down. The Zambian people must never be hoodwinked into these, you know, numbers that don't even add up. Economic growth, you know, indicators, inflation and what. All those, if they don't translate into the well-being of our people, are meaningless. Besides, I've also challenged, how is it that you can post economic growth when the other variables are, you know, showing the opposite? Interestingly today, those of you who have been following parliamentary proceedings, this government is failing everywhere, including the very promise of avoiding Inkongole. This, or next year in 2026, as per the borrowing plan, itwale chita discuss buli abushiku. Ba UPND, bale ya muku Kongola unprecedentedly over $4 billion in one fiscal year. I want to repeat. Ba PF ba shile Nkongole $12 billion in 10 years. Imagine ba UPND kukunu matwale chita discuss bale Kongola 1.5 billion per year. Ilelo next year ba UPND bale Kongola $5.3 billion in 1 year. Elo na shwe Nkongole esho bale Kongola from the local, muno mwine mu Zambia, it means on the market, and the interest may obviously be beyond the roof. These are the same people who are not prepared to have this country generate enough revenue from our own resources called minerals. That is why they are prepared to give their friends in the mining sector a holiday. Vafumia kwama taxes. First of all, they allow their friends to be exporting copper concentrate. Remember, when you export copper concentrate, you are taking away gold, cobalt, uranium, nefia, shala. How much are we getting? Only the little taxes. A normal country should not allow the country to export concentrates. You must add value, because when you add value to your minerals, you'll be creating wealth, you'll be employment in the process or the value chain process. Interestingly, they've even gone to ensure that they give their friends to take away our minerals for free. Today, even our farmers are struggling. The farming season is here. The UPND have not paid our farmers as we speak. I know that tomorrow the minister will be giving a statement. I heard that now for to Pia, but our farmers are getting late because your government is reckless. It has failed to pay our farmers. Now, when you look at all this, in all the areas, this government has failed. The end result has now been, let's persecute anyone who is challenging us. That is why now, baleka kafena nguta upangire no mlandu. Munia Zulu bamuka kwa bulo kupanga no mlandu. Batira yo nachita defame. Even when Munia's statements were issued within the perimeter where he is covered by immunities. You can see some of us, we make statements that were made by the same president when he was on opposition. Defend yourself, defend yourself. But if they want ukwirikisha. You can see that when our friends, and that's a sign of dictatorship, when you know you have failed, you resort to silencing all of those you feel can rise up or can stand up against you. Which is why the people of Zambia today must know and realize that we are up against a monster that must be fought at all costs. It therefore means get your power, go and register as voters, especially abana ba mumayanda bachiteni age to go and get the NRC so that you have the power. It will not help the Zambian people today, but to say, awe, if we vote, because when you don't vote, you give chance to a party that is in power. So you only have one option. If you are afflicted by what the troubles that the UPND have brought to this country. But I can also mention this to the Zambian people. Time has come for us to unite. When you see injustices are being committed against somebody else, don't say because niudia ifota chitukumine, because injustices done on one person are injustices done on all of us as a country and as a community, and therefore we have a duty to stand up and fight injustices. I do not wish the trouble we are seeing in other countries to come here, which is why I will continue to ask the ruling party, the President Hakainde, to do what is right for the country, to be a Democrat, to exercise democratic statesmanship, because it is costly to go the route of Madagascar. It is costly to go the route of Tanzania, and there is no reason why anyone would want to be in power and allow people to die the way people have died in Tanzania. It is uncalled for. It must never be allowed. And so we have a duty to ensure that we continue to harness our own democracy, the peace we have enjoyed, and everything else. Above all, fellow citizens, this is a time for us as a country to begin to work at uniting, because whatever we desire to do for our country in terms of development will not be attained if we don't unite. Here I am calling on all tribes, Ababemba, Abakuchipata, Abatonga, Abalozi, Bakalubale, Bakalunda, Nabashala. The next election is not about who is our relative. The next election is about who is able to provide better leadership. A leadership that will inspire the country to work together. A leadership that will unite, all the different tribal facets in this country. But I think that the opportunity next year is about rejecting the leadership that has divided us, the leadership that has taken us into those dark days. And unfortunately, the UPND have failed us, and I think we need to give them or to show them the door. And like many of you have said, perhaps we need to ponder or consider uniting for the sake of our country. And me as Emmanuel Mwamba, on behalf of the group that I lead, Ichabayiche, we are ready, very much ready, and we will continue doing what we need to do for us to be able to contribute meaningfully should we come to a decision that we need to unite with those and those and those. Maybe this is how I would want to conclude, Ambassador Mwamba.
Yes. Thank you very much. Colleagues, we're hosting independent MP from Nkana constituency, a vibrant young leader in parliament. You've watched his debates and is leading a movement of good governance called Ichabayiche. Is rallying you to register as voters, is rallying you to participate in the upcoming elections. Take control of the destiny of this country. Don't leave it to others. It's up to you. Whatever frustration they are putting across, participate in the election. Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba, I'd like to thank you for coming, and this is your forum. Every time you have any message of hope for our people and for your fellow leaders, please, you make yourself available. So thank you for this opportunity. God bless you. And for our dear viewers, we have lined up other leaders of our country just to cement where we are going towards elections in 2026. God bless you.
Thank you, Mwamba na totera sana.
Chisumaba ne bampundu, wende bwino.
registration across the country from the 13th of October to the 11th of November 2025. If you are 18 years and above, a Zambian citizen and in possession of a Green National Registration Card, NRC, you qualify to register. If you registered in 2020 or during continuous registration of voters and you still have your voter's card, you don't need to register again. During this registration period, ECZ will be providing the following services: new registrations, replacement of lost, destroyed or defaced voters' cards, transfers from one polling station to another, claims for omission on the register of voters, corrections of clerical errors, and removal of deceased voters. Registration centers will be open throughout the week from 8 hours to 17 hours. Register now. It's your right. It's your choice. This message is brought to you by the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Kwenyu ndemwe chabe mabanja onanjala mkomo ndalama zonse mutumbalano masukwa kuchuluka pa mutupatu. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. Kanizanu ndizopanda pindu. Anakulira mise umwatu. Tikufuna chilengede chatopano. Osati mapocket anu opindika ndalama. Listen to the cries, they're louder than your lies. You can't silence the truth. It's time for the youth. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. We rise, we stand, we fight together for the children, for a better forever. When you kunata pano, we take the rain. Tikonza jiko.